J. Barber.
J. Barber.
The New Life of Meher Baba. When Dr. Donkin writes to Elizabeth Patterson that Barber's new life is a mystery, and again a mystery, what can I possibly say that will clarify this incredible phase of beloved Barber's ministry? Barber himself, in response to the question, "What does your new life mean?" answered that he could not say. So again, what can I say? My own connection with Barber's new life is virtually nil, although in July 1949 I was firmly committed to Barber. I did not, due to circumstances, fast or maintain silence during July as asked by him. I did, however, write to him in June 1951 as he invited us to do so. But thinking of the words new life, I did have, as I see now, a new life beginning in June 1947. It can be said that whoever experiences an awakening of love, no matter how little, within the heart to the presence of God as God-man, and endeavours to express that love in their life, has begun a new life. And I believe that we are, as now, even far more fortunate when that awakening occurs during the advent of God as God-man. In time, he becomes universally known, and gradually the power of his presence diminishes until his next advent. When I was given the discourses of Meher Baba, and at the same time introduced to the vast treasure of spiritual law by perfect masters and from the advents of the God-man, I loved it all, especially as I was struggling to comprehend conventional university psychology and at the same time fit that into my strong belief in God. So I began what I now call my new life, although it wasn't until I was notified of Avatar Meher Baba's new life in the late 40s that I was aware of such a term applying to a state of being and way of life. So, for 7 years, I actively pursued the accumulation of spiritual knowledge and helped as much as possible Francis Brabazon in establishing a Meher Baba Centre in Sydney. Then came the incredible opportunity to go to India and actually be with the Divine Being to whom I had dedicated my life. Yes, I went, of course, to be with beloved Baba foremost, and at the same time, naturally, pursue even more seriously knowledge of the spiritual path, this being a part of my active resolve to usefully love and serve Baba in his cause. So I took with me notebooks and happily wrote down all that Baba gave out during those wonderful hours in the West Room of the Upper Meherabad retreat. Then came the morning when beloved Baba stopped his dictation and, pointing his 2 fingers at John Valentine and myself, directed that we were to sit in his future tomb shrine at midnight for half an hour, with our eyes open, but moving and silently, not moving, and silently repeating his name. In the immense silence of Meherabad at that time, and the absolute darkness of the tomb shrine, I experienced most painfully of being alone, as it were, in the universe. There was only myself, no comfort of sun, earth and people, no distracting yet reassuring plethora of noise and movement and creatures. It was so overwhelming that the mind dissolved, stunned into mental panic, and I could not inwardly say his name as directed. So much for the vaunted foundation of my life in my so serious study of spirituality. Perhaps not consciously at the time, but that experience was the awakening of the truth that beloved Baba gave to me then. It is only love that enables one to hold fast to him. Just love him more and more until that love becomes his reality. It is not a path of gain, but a path of loss. But the loss of Maya, the loss of illusion and ignorance with its plentiful mental baggage. The years went by, and my new life continued developing what may be called normal lines until 1967, when Baba called me to be with him in Meherabad for 14 days. On that first morning, as I sat with the men Mundley in Mundley Hall, Baba said that I looked like one of the Mundley. This certainly helped me to further relax and cease to question my existence in that exalted company, and allowed me to flow with them in the profound silence of his presence, and try for that time to be as one of them in the dedication of their being totally in his service. I accept and see myself simply as a worker for him, certainly not a scholar. So again, how can I expound upon this subject? I had an odd thought the other day. I see myself as one of numerous workers that are seeking to do the bidding of one who heads a vast universal charity, a charity that offers truth to all, and only at the cost of each one's ignorance.
Beautiful.
Yet my stay with Baba in 1967 was for me another step in what I call my new life, another minute step on the path that leads to him. During the night in Bombay, before my journey to Meherabad, my mind was troubled, and I was like the musts who held back from Baba's call, saying, "He means trouble." But love for him prevailed, and in the morning I'd forgotten the mental turmoil and proceeded joyfully to Meherabad, thus taking another step in what I call my new life. But what do I mean by my new life? The words new life can be, like the word love, used too loosely, such as a person resolving to live a new life of fun and license. But what I feel is that the beginning of a true new life is when the heart firmly acknowledges the reality of Meher Baba's avatarhood and resolves to dedicate one's life to his cause. And I think it could be said That each minute surrender to beloved Baba's wishes is the development of a new life state within one. I say a new life rather than Baba's new life, because it seems to me that only a perfect man can fulfill his statement of what the new life means and how it can be achieved. Meher Baba's statement regarding his new life is as follows: this new life is endless, and even after my physical death, it will be kept alive by those who live the life of complete renunciation of falsehood, lies, hatred, anger, greed and lust, and who to accomplish all this do no lustful actions, do no harm to anyone, do no backbiting, do not seek material possessions or power, who accept no homage, neither covet honour, nor shun disgrace, and fear no one and nothing, by those who rely wholly and solely on God, and who love God purely for the sake of loving, who believe in the lovers of God and in the reality of manifestation, and yet do not expect any spiritual or material reward, who do not let go the hand of truth, and who, without being upset by calamities, bravely and wholeheartedly face all hardships with 100% cheerfulness, and give no importance to caste, creed, or religious ceremonies. This new life will live by itself eternally, even if there is no one to live it. What an absolutely beautiful statement that is. It inspires profoundly. It silences the mind, perhaps giving a glimpse to each seeking heart of the perfect man state. Certainly something to hold on to and strive towards. In thinking of this ideal of the new life, I reminded of these words from Rumi. What is all beauty in the world? The image, like quivering boughs reflecting in a stream, of that perfect orchard which abides unwithered in the hearts of perfect men. Let me repeat it, it's so beautiful.
Good.
What is all beauty in the world? The image, like quivering boughs reflected in a stream, of that perfect orchard which abides unwithered in the hearts of perfect men. In speaking of Baba's new life, we have his statement that the new life means the renunciation of all hopes, the renunciation of all aims, the renunciation of all help. No master, no disciples means renunciation of spirituality. And the new life I have in mind eventually means absolute renunciation. Therefore, the new life is absolute and complete renunciation. And if people ask of what? Of everything, aims, hopes, help, and even life itself. Also, from time to time, Baba made further intriguing comments on the new life, such as, the new life will bring about a state wherein no one will depend on anyone or anything. It will bring an enjoyment of suffering a stone in the heart and a wine glass to the lips. Whether it be morn or even day or night will make no difference to it. Take no thought of the morrow and no concern about what people think of us. The new life will be wet inside and out. Oh God, make this new life for all of us a success and joy eternal.
What does it mean by a stone to the heart?
And a wine glass to the lips.
Yeah. Do you know what that means? Okay, never mind. We'll find out.
But it's a beautiful image, a
It's
stone in the heart
Yeah.
and a wine glass to the lips. You sort of know, and yet at the same time, how can you know until you've experienced it?
Until you've tasted the wine.
Yes. These statements bring to mind Money, Barbara's sister, who commented that for her the new life was both serious and almost frightening. She went on, "It is as if one is in the ocean rowing and looks and realises how vast it is. Once I had the experience of realising the depth of the new life. I was so awed by it. Again, it was like being near the ocean and being able to feel it. It was so tremendous. I've never sung the new life song since then. I couldn't. It scared me. Barbara said over and over again that he was our companion now, but during the new life, he was more God than ever. To the question, why have you taken to this new life, and what was the need for it? Barbara replied, there is no explanation for it. You will gain nothing by trying to understand me as regards this new life. On the contrary, you will become more perplexed, if not dismayed. Yet certain aspects of Barbara's new life are clear to us. Obedience to his wishes, cheerfulness in the face of whatever confronts us, total reliance on God, accepting whatever comes without hope or expectations, and all stories of seekers of God, are stories of a new life lived gradually, step by step, towards that perfect ideal, as expressed in Barbara's description of the new life. The classic story of our new life is that of the young woman who was thinking of suicide. Eritz tells this story. It happened in Europe during Barbara's first visit there. Barbara was seated in a small room, and those who had come to see him for the first time, attracted to him by those who had already met him, would be with him for a few minutes in that room. One day, in the small crowd of those who had come, was a young Russian woman. She was very beautiful, obviously very healthy and well off, and there seemed nothing wrong. But when she was brought inside the room and she looked at Barbara, she just fell on her knees and with her head on Barbara's lap started sobbing, and she wept and wept. So Barbara, the great comforter, sat there and comforted her. She went on weeping for about 15 minutes. Barbara's clothes were wet with her tears. Finally, after she'd calmed down, Barbara lifted her head, looked at her and said, "You are so beautiful, so young, so healthy. Why are you so miserable?" She replied with, "I know I am beautiful. I know I'm healthy. I know I'm young. And also I'm very wealthy. Yet I feel that I am the most miserable person on earth, unworthy to be alive. I want to commit suicide." Barbara replied, "Very good. You must commit suicide. Commit suicide this instant in my presence." And Barbara put her head down on his feet, saying, "There you are dead." After a while he lifted her head and said, "Now live again. Live a new life now. Completely forget the past and leave it aside. It has nothing to do with you. You are dead, and this is a new, fresh life. Committing personal suicide will not release you from your misery. You carry the mind, all your mental impressions with you. Only this will release you from your firm determination to have died to your past and to begin now to live a new life. So stand up again, renewed and refreshed, and with all the strength of a new life born in his love." So from the point of view of discussion, we have Barbara's new life as lived by him and his companions. And we have our new life. Barbara's will continued eternally, even if there is no one to live it. Our new life continues by his grace, helped by the extent to which we allow him to work within us until we become one with him. And we also have the new life as lived by those totally devoted to him, who for various reasons could not go with him as he set out, and were therefore told that they would never see him again. To speak of those stalwart lovers who were left only with him in their hearts as Barbara departed on the new life, I take as an example the Jesawala family. Knowing from years of contact with them the intensity of their love for Barbara, I can imagine the depth of their pain being told by Barbara that they would never see him again. The whole family was so very close in his love, and in his frequent journeys through Puna, he always ate, bathed and slept in their home, Bindra House, as though one of the family. Meawan, like his brother Erich, was completely ready to go with Barbara, but Barbara said to him, "I'm taking Erich with me. His duty is to look after me, and your duty is to look after the family." And this is what Meawan did, cheerfully resigned to his will. Papa Jesawala, utterly shocked by Barbara's announcement, with the loss of his eldest son deepening the pain, struck his daughter over some incident at the dinner table, and then left the table weeping, unable to understand how he could have slapped his daughter for the first time in his life. To me, a most poignant moment, showing the depth of anguish and the sense of devastation that Barbara's new life had awakened in the heart of a man, normally of iron will and controlled behaviour. In the midst of this total upheaval, Barbara asked Papa, and Gaimai to accept as members of their family and household 4 women Mandali from the disbanded ashram. This they did wholeheartedly. Again, from that incredible time, as Baba prepared for his new life, we read of the departure of Rano, Kitty, Khorshid and Sunamasi to Bombay as they drove away through their tears. They looked back as long as they could until Baba, who continued to wave to them, was finally out of sight. What must have been their anguish, and so too for all those other close, intimate ones who were faced with the apparent reality of never seeing his beloved form and face again. Another glimpse of the intensity and pressure on the men Mandali to complete Baba's orders of disbandment of the ashrams and all that meant was Erich relating to Mayawad how driving back to Mahrazad from Mehrabad at night and at full speed, he was so dazed with overwork and exhaustion that he drove through a flooded causeway without awareness.
Would you like to have a rest now?
And only came to his senses with the splash of the water. The river was in flood and he could have been swept away.
Good enough for the moment, yeah.